Now, the other thing that it's just not quite 4th of July without is ice cream. I almost always make homemade ice cream. It's a tradition around here. We don't make it. We buy raspberry ice cream, and that's what I'm gonna make. I'm gonna make a raspberry, blackberry, cherry ice cream, which I've never made before. It's got to be raspberry or blackberry, and this year I decided to throw some cherries in there, and so I'm going to show you how to do that too. So I got my berries. I've got some berries that have been kicking around in the freezer for a couple of years. These are from October 23. I guess they're about 8 to 10, they're not quite 12 ounces of raspberries like the package I bought. So I'm going to do roughly a 4 to 1 ratio of raspberries to blackberries to cherries. So 4 times as many raspberries as blackberries and cherries. And it's going to make it predominantly raspberry. That's what I'm going for. Anything that's left over from this that isn't going to go into the ice cream, I'm going to turn into jam, and I will have that in the morning with my yogurt. So one of the things, the reason why we have these is because when you get berries on a good deal part of the year, and you just package them at the grocery store. You just freezer package them up and put them in the freezer, and unfortunately, we tend to forget about them, but you can throw them, you can make jam with them when they're best when they're seasonal. You can make jam with them, you can throw them on waffles, you can do it for any kind of dessert or whatever. The trouble is they just go into the freezer and you forget about it. And this, I like raspberry jam, I like cherry jam. Actually, the best jam I ever had was a blackberry, cherry, fig, and grape preserve. It's really good, and I want to be able to make that myself, but I'm not quite there with the figs yet. Anyway, it's real easy to start this. I'm just going to open up each bag. Drop these frozen berries in my pot here. I'm going to cover them with as little water as possible and add probably as much sugar as I add water. So I've got to pay attention, and then that's it. I'm going to let it cook down. I'm going to strain the seeds out because raspberries and blackberries have little annoying seeds, and even though they don't mind, it doesn't really bother me, they can be kind of annoying for other people, and I don't always do it, but I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to strain the seeds out. I'm going to mix part of the jam, part of this, it's going to be more like a syrup, it's going to be pretty thick with the ice cream. I'm going to chill it down with the ice cream ingredients, and when I go to make the ice cream, I'm going to mix them together last minute and make the ice cream that way. And I've done this before. It's not that difficult. One of the things that can go wrong is to not have your ingredients chilled, and in particular when you're using fresh berries, the proteins in your milk will coagulate because of the acidity in your berries. So to prevent some of that, you add it chilled, thickened and chilled, and you can also add, which I'm going to do a little experimentation. If I was really with it, I would do some calculations on the relative acidity of these berries and do what's called stoichiometry, and which I was thinking about this was last week when I had this idea in my head. Do some stoichiometry and add just enough baking soda to neutralize the acid, or most of it, to prevent the proteins from coagulating. If they coagulate, you won't get a smooth ice cream. It's not what you want. And that comes from acid and proteins in milk and whatever. So you do it cold, it might happen a little bit, you mitigate most of it. Yeah. So I got my pot. This is a 1.5 gallon pot, and it's about half full. I think the berries will reduce down quite a bit. So I'm going to start with 2 cups of water and maybe just 1 cup of sugar, maybe 2 cups of sugar. 1 cup, 2. I don't know. I don't do this often enough. I'm going to start with 2 cups of water and 1 cup of sugar and see what happens. I might have to add some more water. I might have to add some more sugar. Well, I'm going to eventually blend this up before straining it. I have an idea of how I want this done, how I'll do this, and I'll make it work as I go. All right, I have my berry puree. I've already blended up, and I've got this instrument. I don't know what it's called, but I'm sure it's for it'll be help me get the seeds out. So here goes. It's got little holes in the bottom. Hopefully it traps the seeds. You hear them grinding. Not the most pleasant sound. Anyway, it makes things so much easier. You have no idea. This also tastes really good. I thought I wanted the raspberry flavor to be prominent, and I really like raspberries, but the cherries also sort of help fill in the flavor. It's just, I've never made this. I'm happy with it. So far, so good anyway. So next step is I haven't added the baking powder yet, or what I'm going to use to neutralize. I'm going to use a pinch or so. I might look up a suggestion online. You don't want to put too much in. It does react and it will create salt, and it could change the flavor. The acid is a important part of the flavor of the puree, of the jellies, and by reducing it, it will change just a little bit. So I don't want to use too much, but I do want to try to reduce it a little bit so that the milk stays, the milk doesn't coagulate. So this does get out most of the seeds, but because I blended up, some of the seeds, some of the particulate still is in with the jelly, but most of it is stuck in here. I want to show you what that looks like. See, that's a big heaping spoonful. There's probably 2 of those in here, from 4-ish pounds of blackberries and raspberries. That's not going in. You're losing a little jam, but it's okay. Whoever's eating it might thank you later. Okay, so this is how you make homemade ice cream the old-fashioned way. Your bucket. This is where the ice cream is. Next, check the ice all around it. Not. Also, I'll show you.
The real old-fashioned way is cranking it. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna use some electricity here. So then I'm going to layer some rock salt. Sometimes they call this ice cream salt. On top of the ice. It's what is it? Allows the water to reach a lower temperature than like a temperature below freezing is what it is. And normally water freezes at 33 degrees Fahrenheit. This allows the water to get colder than that without freezing. Supposedly. Does that mean that ice is colder than that? All the time? I don't know. That's what I'm told. Alright, I got the motor. You kind of see it spins around. As the ice melts, it coats, it just freezes the walls of I don't even know what they call it. The other bucket. Normally you'd have to, if this was the real old-fashioned way, you'd have to be cranking this by hand. Somewhere in this house there is an old-fashioned ice cream maker, a hand crank one. I don't think I've ever used it, but maybe I saw my dad use it once, and that was the year that we got the electric one, a real long time ago. Might take about an hour. I don't know. We'll find out. All right. Here's our ice cream. Pretty good. It still needs to chill. It needs a hard freeze. It's really soft right now, and I gotta move fast, so it's gotta be
in the freezer for a couple of hours. Maybe ready. It's 8 o'clock right now. Maybe we're ready around 10. All right, it's the 4th of July weekend, and I'm gonna show you how to make potato salad. So the potato salad I'm gonna make is the potato salad that my mom would make, my grandma made, the kind of potato salad that we would have at 4th of July picnics or at Sunday potlucks. It's the classic American mustard potato salad. Now there's lots of ways to make potato salad, and there's lots of ways to make mustard potato salad. And you know, as I have grown older, I actually like there's different ways to make potato salad, and I even prefer a garlic dill potato salad. But this is the traditional potato salad we make around here. And so that's what I'm going to make today. Now, for the first thing you need to do when you make potato salad is mustard potato salad is boil some eggs. So I've got my pan full of water with the steamer basket in it. I'm going to put a dozen eggs, farm fresh, more chickens in the back, eggs into the steamer, put it on the stove, bring it up to a boil for about 5-10 minutes. 5-10 minutes, 8 minutes, it depends. Depends on how long it takes to get to boil, whatever. You don't want it to take too long. You don't want the yolks to turn green. If you know how to boil eggs, boil them how you know how. Next, I'm gonna steam some. So the next step is steaming some potatoes. Now, I'm not making that much, so I have my potatoes right here. My dad would say they need to be peeled. My mom would say, but that's where all the nutrition is, and I'm going to go with I'm lazy and I'm just going to leave the skins on. I think they taste good too, but that's how it is around here. All right, I have my boiled eggs. Now comes the tricky part, actually peeling them. See if I can even get one done. Well, we're gonna get chopped up, so I guess it doesn't matter, but I could do a little better. All right, so I've peeled my eggs. Did a better job on some of them than others. About half of them came out perfect, and the other half, a lot to be desired. Homemade or home raised eggs, ours tend to have a thicker shell, and fresh eggs tend to be more difficult to peel. So there's some techniques you could do to try to make it easier, but peeling eggs is is, I mean, it's a skill. You gotta learn how, and I don't do it all that often, although we do eat a lot of eggs. So potatoes are out of the steamer. They're still a little warm. I let them cool off a little bit. I'm gonna cut them up and cube them up, and they'll cool down faster. Normally, this potato salad tastes better a day if it gets to sit overnight. I'm not gonna have that. I'm not gonna have that option today, but I can still keep things moving along. And the more it rests in the dressing, the more the flavor and the salt will be distributed, and it makes it taste better. Okay, I've got my potatoes cubed up. I've got my eggs chopped. Got my eggs chopped. I got my onions diced. I got my pickles diced. Homemade pickles. So the yolks of the eggs I put in the bowl. I'm going to mash them up. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to mash them up with the mayonnaise and the mustard to make my potato salad. Now I'm going to eyeball this. You might be better. I have a recipe, but it makes more than this. I'm just going to eyeball it. So it's like 2 spoonfuls of mayonnaise. You got this much dressing has to go with this much potato. This is how I'm trying to keep it. 1 good squirt, 2 good squirts of mayonnaise. Hopefully that wasn't too much. You can easily overdo it, and I might just have. I've got a fork and I'm mashing up the yolks with the mayonnaise and mustard. Suppose I could have got a mixing bowl and creamed them, and I would have had a dirty, or the mixer. Didn't really want to do that. But I could get this creamy for certain without playing with it for as long. Next, I've never used and my mother has never used seasoned salt, but I'm going to try it this time. We use it in a lot of stuff that's very similar, and so I think it'll work. I don't think you're going to notice very much. It is going to give it just a little bit of a taste. So you want to use plain salt for authentic. I always change things just up a little bit. You want to put the salt in with the dressing. You're going to season the dressing. Make sure that the salt is evenly distributed in the liquid. It'll help coat the potatoes better. The dressing is just the sauce, you know. I want the sauce. Don't want too much sauce, but I do want the potatoes to every bite to have sauce. Getting smoother. Well, not perfect. I'm going to put everything in. Well, first I'm going to put the chopped ingredients in. And then I'm going to mix it up. It's like one smallish onion and a quarter of a whole pickle. And go to the potatoes. I should put the black pepper in. Okay, good. A few cranks of fresh cracked black pepper. Not too much. Just a little bit. And give it a taste test. It is okay. I think it needs, so I got this out because I usually do. Usually potato salad needs a little bit more vinegar. It will bring all the flavors out. Now, most people would probably prefer to use distilled vinegar or apple cider vinegar. I've said before, I think grain vinegar, like this is brown rice vinegar, or what am I thinking of? The fish and chip vinegar, malt vinegar. I think that they're a little bit better for most things, for certain things, and this is one of those things. So I'm going to try to put in, I'm going to put a few shakes of vinegar and then mix this around. Now, it would have been better to add that before the potatoes when it was just sauce. Because the more you work this, the more the potatoes start to fall apart, and kind of it's okay, but you want noticeable cubes when you go to eat it, not you don't want it mashed. You don't want it like a big weird thing of mashed potatoes. That's not what this is. You could serve it that way, but that's not what potato salad is. It's not mustard mashed potato salad. It's chunks. All right, I'm gonna rinse my fork off. Do another taste test. That's a big improvement. I mean, you really need that vinegar. That made a big difference. I'm gonna leave it. The only other thing, so there's a couple things you might add later on if the taste isn't right. You could want to add a little bit more salt. You could want to add a little bit more vinegar. You could want to add a little sprinkling of sugar, also to help get those flavors out, and a little bit more onion or a little bit more pickle. So that's 5 things. You could play around with it. It's gonna improve in flavor over the next few hours. I think it's good enough. It's good enough for this 4th of July. So call it potato salad. Okay. Finally, it would be 4th of July holiday without something on the grill. And this holiday, gonna go with baby back ribs. So to start, it's really easy. You just need some mustard. Rub it in on either side. Just a little bit. salt. Use kosher salt and come out. Pat that, put that in. Your side. That's it. Next, it gets seared on a hot grill. All right, the grill's hot. The ribs go on. All right, it's about 500 degrees in here. Got that nice color. That's what we're looking for on both sides. And I'm going to turn the grill off, all but one burner. I'm going to turn the last burner on low. This burner's on. The ribs are going to sit on this side. I'm going to cook them low and slow for another hour, hour and a half. All right, I have homemade barbecue sauce. This is Larry's secret barbecue sauce, my dad. So I can't tell you what's in it. But if you can manage to find this book, it's printed in it. So good luck. So at this point, the ribs have been on for a little bit more than an hour. Pretty tender. To make them this way, you put the barbecue sauce on them. Let it sort of stick. It gets 2 or 3 coats. You'll see. All right, the ribs are ready. Whoa, don't want to lose them. There they are. And here are the ribs finished on the table, ready to eat. Try to get my dad in, but he's not interested. I suppose it's my fault. I never appear in his videos. I guess the potato salad is a vegetable.
Very good, Brad.
Thank you.
You're not gonna eat it with your. What's wrong with you?
My hands are all greasy.
Well, go wash them. I don't know why you did that. You didn't know better. You did that on purpose. Happy 4th of July. Here's the ice cream. The homemade stuff melts really fast. Pretty good though. So here I'm at the Moon Rock in Harlingen, Texas. It's kind of like a food trailer park. And they got live music. It's one of the coolest things in our little town here. And they got a bar. It's kind of a cool place. Of course, you gotta have fireworks on the 4th of July. So I got a few.